if you feel it's hard to just be normal, then you're not neurotypical. If you feel it's exhausting and if you feel drained, you are spicy.
Hey guys, it's Adrian. Today I've got an interview with Cecilie Dissing for you. Now, Cecilie is Danish, as in she lives in Denmark. She is someone who I met through pageantry. I know that a lot of the people I'm interviewing, I've met through pageantry. That's no coincidence. For those of you who don't know, I own a pageant business, a beauty pageant business. But everyone, at least that I know, who has had an ADHD journey, there's always been something that sparked that curiosity to begin with. Maybe not if you were diagnosed as a young child, but certainly being diagnosed as an adult or going through an adult ADHD journey. In my experience, it's always been you've had a conversation with someone and that sort of sparked your thought process. It got you thinking, this person who has ADHD or this person, maybe I'm more like them and maybe I'm not just crazy. Maybe there's something actually going on in my head that I can get diagnosed and then maybe get some help with. And for me, Cecilie was very much that person. I interviewed her a couple of years ago, I think back in 2022 when she was Miss Earth Denmark. And even in her bio, she had ADHD, Asperger's, and synesthesia, which if you don't know is where you experience senses differently. And it was very clear that the way that she was thinking, even though obviously she has a brain that works very differently to most other people's, her brain and my brain had a lot more in common than my brain seemed to have with most neurotypical people. So it was a conversation with her that really first got me thinking. And that's why I thought, going down this ADHD rabbit hole myself, I had to speak to Cecilie. I had to interview Cecilie because she was really the one who started it all. So enjoy. You'll obviously see that Cecilie is a highly intelligent and creative individual as well. And if you want to follow her, then you can find her on Instagram at Cecilie.Dissing.
Tell me, why did you name it the ADHD hut? I mean, apart from the obvious reason, so both you and your partner have ADHD, but have you spec'd it out to be like ADHD-friendly in some way?
100%. Like every single thing we build in our home is with focus on our ADHD and how to like dopamine hack every day of our lives. So one of the things that the ADHD brain does is that it continuously hunt for dopamine. But why not just make it easily accessible? So bring a lot of things into your life that is really a dopamine booster. So like bright colors, different settings, like variations all the time. So throughout the day, you have complete control of the inputs your body gets. So if I am in need of a more quiet room or something like that, we have like our soft rooms. Then we have our living room like this is for when we actually really need some dopamine. Here we have like this wonderful
the wallpaper.
wall. Yeah. It's actually hand painted. We
Really?
painted like the complete thing, yeah. But and then we have like a candy like corner. So like if you go to a candy shop, you can like pick and choose your own candy. We have that in the other corner.
Gosh.
We do have a computer, but we mostly want it to be like centered, like good feeling, good vibes, more like board games and like active room, not like a slouchy room.
It looks amazing. I mean, it's weird since last time I spoke to you. I mean, I have since joined the ADHD club. So me looking at this is going, I'd never thought of this. I'd heard of like environmental design to provide dopamine, and I heard of it and went, yeah, okay, whatever. And then I'm looking at this going, I need that wallpaper. But also, as you can see, like I've always wondered why I liked having these things in the background. And now it just makes me happy. And now that I know why, and you've got a bunch of them as well, now it makes more sense. So next question. So you said you've helped diagnose a few other people with ADHD, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Including your partner, your fiance.
Yes.
Okay. So I've been thinking about this. What is the environment at home like then? If you get two ADHD people together, does it just magnify the craziness, or do you balance each other out? How does that work?
Both. I would say both. we don't have this like vulgar pink and purple room for no reason. So sometimes it really does magnify it. Also, our love of animals goes into being like, oh, like we are stable in our income instead of children. We're not ready for that. So animals, yeah, let's get 18. So at some point it really magnifies itself, but at the same time we also have like this deep understanding of our differences in our self-development, that we are very aware of early signs of burnout and are able to bring each other like into calmness when we can't control it each.
I mean, having someone around who could actually understand the way your brain works, I got to say, that sounds like a huge relief. It's like, I think, and you alluded to this before, like talking about communicating with neurotypical people, it's sort of being a drain. You almost have to, I don't know if this is accurate. You tell me if this reflects your experience, but when you're communicating, like my best friend is neurotypical, and I have no hate for neurotypical people, but I do find that sometimes communicating with them, it takes an extra effort. Have you found that to be your experience as well?
Yeah, the way I explain it is generally we're 10 steps ahead in our brain. So we often, like, if you're doing a calculation, this is where in school I always got, like, told out by the teacher because I forgot.
Trouble.
Yeah, I got the right result, but I never got, like...
You never showed your working.
Yeah, exactly. I never, Danish call it the mellemregning, the in-between calculations. Yeah. And I couldn't do that because my brain didn't work that way. And sometimes I didn't even, like, use the right calculations for it, but I got the right result. So it was hard for me to keep on doing that because it took extra time. And it was like, why do that? It's not logical for me. I think also we are highly logical people. We have to like everything we think of and every thought that comes into our head, it has like deep connections to everything else. So understanding a conversation or a topic that is very new to us comes very easily because it's like we already have thought out the whole connection system, the whole... all the threads to everywhere. So I think that's where neurotypical people have a hard time following us because we jump from each thread.
I want to get your thoughts on this. Someone commented, neurotypical people don't wonder if they're normal. And I thought that was a really interesting comment. Have you ever thought that?
I didn't. I don't think I've ever thought of it about that way, but I know like I feel like a very large portion of neurotypical don't question things. It's like they always just take it as it is. And it's not because it's like ignorant or anything. It's more like it just comes natural for them to have this chronological order in their life, whereas we go like kind of... I can't explain it.
All over the place. I know what you mean from the hand signals, so it's okay.
Yeah. If somebody told me they were questioning if they had a diagnosis, I would also be like, if you feel it's hard to just be normal, then you're not neurotypical. If you feel it's exhausting, and if you feel drained, you are spicy. In school, my teachers always said that I had ADHD tendencies, but never did anything about it. Then when I got to gymnasium, which is kind of either high school or college, one of my teachers literally sat me down and was like, I'm not gonna let you pass this exam if you don't pull yourself together. Because I was literally sitting in class and I was sitting like completely up front, nothing to distract me, and everything he said, I didn't understand a word. I understood what he was saying, but it didn't like go through. I was like, why can't I hear what he's saying? I'm literally looking at him, I'm hearing, why can't I hear what he's saying? So I realized I might not be lazy. It must be something else. So I went to my studies counselor And I was like, I'm spicy somehow. There is something that's not right. Got to my doctor, got to the psychiatrist within a month, and within 10 minutes she was like, oh yeah, you have ADHD, 100%. 100%.
Even faster than
But
me.
you might be a little bit spicier, so here's the ADHD medication, but I want to do an autism test on you.
Right.
She did that, and she was like, oh yeah, yeah, you're very spicy. This is Asperger syndrome, and this you also have.
Can I ask you, because when I had my diagnosis, it was interesting because two of the people who also have ADHD, when they found out that I had ADHD, they said, congratulations.
Yeah.
The neurotypical people said, I'm so sorry. And like, are you okay? And it was so interesting to me just because I understand their sympathy, but I much preferred the congratulations. And I was actually wondering in advance, like, who's going to congratulate me and who's going to say, I'm so sorry. But you were diagnosed at an earlier stage than I was. So I had quite a positive, I would say, reaction to actually being diagnosed. I was quite happy. But for you at 18, what was your reaction to the diagnosis?
I think at that point it was very conflicting for me. I've always been a very confident person, but this thing is like a very big conflict in my personality because it's not because I was brought up too conservatively, but I think growing up in the countryside in a smaller country might make it more stand outish. It made it more of a bigger deal. But it was also kind of the reason why I got into pageantry at the start. Because I wanted to rework or rewrite the story about neurospiciness and neurodivergency, like how it's supposed to be a very shameful thing. So I wanted to make it beautiful. I wanted to show the world that beauty comes from this elaborate brain, and it comes from these diversities that is not often seen as a beautiful trait. So I wanted to like incorporate that into everything I did. And pageantry was just the perfect, like, I think it was the perfect way to get the word out.
Yeah. I mean, I have to thank you because I think it was our conversation or our interview. It was really with you. So you're the one to blame, Cecilie, for putting, for putting in a good way, for putting the idea in my head that I might be spicy, as you like to say. But I can still remember clear as day the dance, because for those people, your dance, for those people who haven't seen that previous interview, you submitted that dance piece for Miss Earth, and I still remember that. The one that really struck home was how much pain that must have caused, because I remember I just remember, because the song and the dance were so beautiful, but I remember looking at it, that must hurt, throwing yourself down on cobblestones like that. But I really think I have to thank you, because it really was a conversation with you that put this whole thing on the map for me. And I do think you succeeded. Like, even if it's just me, I would still count that as a success in terms of spreading the word. I think you do really make, like, being neurospicy cool. Like, I think you're the coolest. I don't know how you do it. And I'm not just exaggerating because I'm talking to you. There are a lot of people who talk about neurodiversity or being neurospicy, but they do it in a way that's almost like nagging. It's like a heavy energy, and they make everyone else feel bad. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you neurotypical people wouldn't understand this. And I don't like that. But I don't know how you do it, but you seem to make it like really cool. So I don't know how you do that.
I'm really thankful for you putting it that way. And I'm so thankful for the way I've just been able to change just a few lives. Because that was my whole purpose of like going out. Like I've succeeded. It's like the biggest win for me, being like the weird kid and then going out and getting people to realize these diagnoses or neurodivergencies aren't a bad thing,
Yeah.
like neurodivergent. And like, I don't feel cool all the time. I feel
You are cool though.
authentic. No, I feel authentic. This
Well,
is
then
like
you're
me,
authentically
like,
cool.
thank you, but it's just me not giving a shit anymore. It's me
But
being like
that is
that.
cool though.
I'm not doing that anymore. It's like, have you ever had a peacock? It looks cool,
Yeah.
but it's so loud. Like the way they scream, the way they sound, you can hear it from miles away. It's
Yeah.
annoying. And I know I can be annoying, I know I can be loud, but I'm nice from a distance. Like that's what I feel like I am.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. I just needed to ask you, the one that completely boggled my mind, internal monologue. I created a short that said, I don't understand how some people can't have internal monologue. I actually told my friend the other day, if I go on medication, because that's like in 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be having the appointment with a psychiatrist. And I said, if I take the medication and my internal monologue stops or disappears, I think I'll actually panic because I don't remember the last time my brain was quiet. So your internal monologue, like internal monologue, yes, no, and if so, how much, how loud, how quick?
Yes, all the time, even when you speak and it's not bothering me. I don't take that much medication that it takes away my monologue.
Yeah.
That's the spiciness I kind of like.
Yeah.
I've been going back and forth on medication, and I've really learned that I need some of my spiciness to be the person that I am, to be like authentic and colorful that I am. But I love my voices in the head and something like that. They don't tell me to do crazy stuff.
Good.
It's mostly me convincing the thoughts that I should do it. But yeah, be prepared that it's very different. I think there's also a lot of different medications that have different outcome. When I was taking something called Concerta, I was getting like a zombie, and I was getting super like I didn't care.
Which is not
But the
good.
first time I took Ritalin, my first experience with medication for ADHD, I felt like I was in a bubble. I felt like everything was clean. Every sound was just like, it was not their own sound. It was like just noise. It didn't bother me because I have a problem with, I hear everything, I see everything. I don't see it as everything as a whole. I see it as every individual thing. So that's why it often feels cluttery everywhere or in my brain, because I see and hear things like completely differently, separately from everything. And when I took the medication, it was like everything got cleaned up. And everything is one whole, and all the sounds didn't stand out to me. It was kind of relieving, and I think there was a few weeks after I started taking it, I got mad, and I was like, how the fuck didn't anybody realize that I had a hard time like experiencing life, and how could anybody have the same expectations for me when I have to do so much more, and I go through so much more energy to get the same job done, or sometimes I could get jobs done like in a minute. But
That's
how
true.
is it like, how is it that I understand why people can live the daily life just doing what they're supposed to, like going to work and then just going home, because they just pick up one thing, get the job done, move it, pass it along, and then pick up the next thing. That's not how an ADHD brain works.
No.
You can get the best ideas from an ADHD brain and like the easiest concepts, everything could go smoothly, but you can also get like the absolute inabilitation to do anything. Like it's almost like you get a project on your hands and you're like just looking at it and thinking, but I can't do it. I can't start it. I know it's easy, but I can't start it.
Yep. Are you able to play around with the dosage a little bit?
Yes. There is, I think, two main differences in medication. One is quick working, and the other one
Fast acting, like slow release.
Yeah, the other one is slow release, where it's like it's building up in your body and just keeping a straight line of it. So I would recommend, if you really want to keep that sparkle, to get the quick working and dosing. That's what I do. But my girlfriend, for example, she takes a regular dose every single day, and she cannot get through the day without taking it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What has it been like watching her go through that journey? Because obviously you know what the journey is like, and obviously you know when it's your partner, it's different. But what has it been like watching that journey from the outside?
I think she had it easier because she has the support of somebody who actually tried it before.
Sure.
That said, it's not easy, but I think she was also really mad because she's been in the system for, I think, around 10 years, having different troubles. Like, she was diagnosed with OCD when she was 7, and had eating disorders and so on, because it was a control thing. She couldn't have control of her mind, of her body, so she developed these side diagnoses.
Yeah.
So for her to get the medication she needed, she was mad for a long time because she realized it could have been so easy, and it took them so long to get this right. But she is also really thankful for the way she's evolved. She's grown up, and she's really like found more confidence and just more. She feels secure in herself. She feels like she found her identity and doesn't question her identity anymore.
That's huge. That's not a small thing. That's a to be questioning yourself every day. That's something that I certainly can relate with. Like questioning yourselves multiple times a day. Like, what am I here to do, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you one more question. Coping mechanisms, right?
Yes.
So when you got diagnosed and then you started on the medication, so for example, time management or time blindness, right? So I have a friend who with pretty severe ADHD, very, very difficult for her to keep track of time. But then to combat that, she developed the coping mechanism of turning up to everything half an hour early. And so she never turned up late. So everyone thought she was punctual, when in actual fact, it was a coping mechanism for the fact that she had really bad time management. And you see, this is where I do feel a little bit for the mental health professionals, because to diagnose it, you can't just look at someone and diagnose. You need to actually peel. I say it's like peeling an onion. You know, it's like layers, until you get to what's really at the core.
Yeah.
So have you found any coping mechanisms, or did you realize that you had developed certain coping mechanisms when you got diagnosed with your ADHD?
I developed a lot of coping mechanisms. I do it myself. I always come before time, and I can panic if I know I'm gonna be late. I'm trying to release that panic and anxiety about not arriving on time, because I've realized it's okay. People are not getting mad at me for doing it. And I don't get mad at people for coming late to something I've organized or something like that. So I'm learning not to do it, but I was also her. I was also like going an extra mile just to make sure I was there in good time, even if this happened, or this happened, just to be sure that I was there on time and ready and could relax. But also I realized that if I have like not planned my day completely, but I know around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock I have a meeting, but it's not like punctual, I cannot do anything until then. My brain physically can't start anything because I have to do this, but it's in between these like times. I cannot do anything in that time, and it's exhausting.
I have that exact same problem just today. I know what you're talking about. Well, let's leave it there. It's and I do mean it sincerely. Like, I think I do owe you a lot of thanks just for putting the whole neurodiversity thing on the map. And even if it was just me and maybe a few other people, I think that's still a huge difference. So I hope that you understand that, because for me, as I said, I I was quite excited to get the diagnosis back, because for me it explained a lot. I don't know if validation is a right word, but I finally had an explanation for, you know, some of the things that I struggled with, like why. And it's not just that I'm weird or that I'm lazy. That was a really big one. Dealing with that disappointment and the shame because, oh, I should have been able to do this, and thinking that you're lazy. Because I've read all the personal development books under the sun. But until you've got the brain sorted out, it just doesn't work the same for us. And so that was huge. And then also explaining the good stuff I can do as well, because it's stuff that I can do that other people can't. But just to know, oh, it's not because you're a freak. It's not because you're completely a weirdo. There's actually an explanation for it. And there are actually some other people in the world who work similarly to yourself. So you're not completely alone. I think that's a huge thing as well. And I think it all started with the conversation I had with you. I can trace it back to you. So thank you.
I'm so thank you. No. I'm so thankful that my words or my experiences can just help as little as those 5 or 6 people getting like a better life, or just being not a part, just only a part of the statistics, but actually be a part of the progress to evolve our species. And I think it's not only just a huge relief when you finally get that diagnosis, because you realize your whole life you've been trying to overcompensate on being a good person, a good human, from the book, or what a book of the good person is, or the right person. So I think it's a huge relief realizing that you're not a bad person. You are continuously trying to improve yourself to fit into a narrative that you weren't built for. But the best people I've met is also neurospicy, because they're so much more aware of their person and their being and how it affects other people. So I feel like the neurospiciness gives to the world as much as the society wants to tell us differently. I promise you their gift.
It's me again. So I hope you really enjoyed that interview. If there's any feedback that you have, I'd love to hear your comments below, whether it's how to make these sorts of interviews more ADHD friendly, or maybe even suggestions as to who you'd like to see me interview next. Now, obviously, I don't need to tell you that the best way to support this channel is to leave a like and subscribe, especially given that we're new. But I'd really, really also love to encourage you to join us at ADHDschool.com. That's school with a K. That's where we're going to be building a little ADHD neurodivergent community. So sign up there. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.